Hey, everybody. Welcome to Training Tuesday for the week. I am Heidi Reese. That is my name, right, Chuck?
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Heidi Reese. I'm Training Programs Manager for Dayton Superior. This is going to be a good one if I can't even remember my name today. We were just talking about Chuck's tenure here, and he absolutely has the 50 years in now. And apparently, someone said he was older than dirt, which I do not like. But I blame him for not knowing my name. Okay, let's get started to remind you guys, everybody that has come into our webinar has come in muted because we don't want any background noise and we record each and every one of these. So please, if you have a question or want to interact with us, you can do that in the Zoom through the chat or the Q&A functionality. Happy to talk with you back and forth, and definitely we'll get to the questions at the very end and have a mini question answer session, and we'll do it through that. Chuck and I are really, really glad you're here and just want to let you know that these are just snippets. If you need more, especially on Steel-Ply, it's such a big topic and there's so many things you can do with it. It's so versatile. If you need more training, we are definitely here for you. Just contact us at training@daytonsuperior.com. Training Tuesdays are real quick, half hour brief topics to get you knowing what our products are, the applications, what's going out in the industry. So I just want to let you know that you have that available to you as well. All right, so I told you that Chuck, Mr. Chuck older than dirt, apparently. I don't think so. He's so knowledgeable and he's fantastic. Everybody knows him in the industry and they love him. I personally do as well. He's going to be talking to us about the Steel-Ply basics. So before we get to him, I do want to remind you that anything that you see in this presentation is intended for training. So you need to go to daytonsuperior.com and check out any application guides, how-to guides, technical information to make sure that you really know how to set up this product. We're going to be talking about things, but it's important that you read the safety factors of it. In addition, we are Dayton Superior, and Symons is the leading solution provider for the concrete construction industry. We can provide you with accessories. You see all the products there coming on, chemicals, whether it is the Dayton Superior or Unitex brand, and then forming. We have all of those forming systems as well as shoring systems that you see in the bottom right-hand corner. If any of these are exciting to you and you want to learn more, please contact us and we can provide you with training, or you can get with your dealer sales manager, technical service. All right, so you know what, Chuck? I wrote this whole thing and I was like telling you all kinds of, but I'm just going to say, here's Chuck.
There you
So
go.
here's Chuck.
Well, thank you, Heidi, for that introduction.
I'm sure you will appreciate it today.
So, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Training Tuesday. Today, we're going to talk about Steel-Ply. This is the original handset system for modular form systems. It was originated back in 1953. Symons was basically around since 1901. It's when they were first originated. And Arthur Symons in 1953 came out and looked at developing a system for concrete formwork. Some of the original form systems that Symons actually originated right after World War II were basically a wood frame system with a steel strap around it and used a modular tie system. That's pretty much similar to what you're seeing down here in the center of the screen, down at the bottom of it. Uh, this system here was great, except for the fact that the 2x4s that they used for around the perimeter disintegrated relatively quick. So, with that being said, Arthur Symons actually developed the steel frame system, a punch system that actually came through and basically re-energized the marketplace. When you think about this system, 1953, and it's still going strong. That's 80 years that that system has been around.
So it's older than dirt?
It's older than dirt. Excuse me. And this system here, the longevity of the Steel-Ply panel is phenomenal. When you really look at it, I've done trainings where I've seen uh, panels that have been older than, developed basically prior to manufactured prior to 1965. Because there were some changes done then that typically uh, were used on the panels prior to. And in some of the rental yards, they actually have those same panels. When you think about it, all you have to do is sandblast, put new plywood in, maybe a weld here and there have to be repaired, new plywood, and you are ready to start pouring concrete against the system again. So, great track record for this system here. This system here is probably the most versatile system in the marketplace. Basically, you can do small walls, low walls, taller walls, circular tanks. You can do columns, radiuses. Um, and one great thing about this, you can gang form it if you need to. Um, is it the best system for every one of these projects? Maybe not, but if you own the system, it's basically a investment that you've made prior to this job. So the wall forms typically aren't costing you anything related to this project. So you are looking at a very versatile system that can be basically used in any application. You can do elevator core shafts here. You're just seeing some more photos of it. The gang form system being used in as a core system. Um, when our office in Australia in the last couple of years over there, they actually have done remarkable leaps and bounds with doing cores and everything else within the uh, elevator and high-rise construction market in Australia using Steel-Ply. Now, the benefits of Steel-Ply. Every one of these squares here is a true feature benefit system here. We're going to talk about some of the highlights of it, what we really think of, what are the key components within this system. And if you really start to look at it, what you're going to look at a couple of different things. The system itself is a handset system. When I say handset, um, means a single person can pick up a panel, put it in place, and attach all the hardware and everything else by himself. So basically, it's one person
For herself.
or herself. Yes,
Sorry. I've done it. I'm a her.
So, and yes, you can. It is a simplistic design. It's lightweight. It's only about 5 pounds per square foot. It does give you 1,000 pounds of pressure. What does that mean? Well, if you understand concrete form pressure, that means you can actually pour concrete at about 6 foot 8 inches per hour. And at 6 foot per hour is typically a pretty good pour clip when you think about when you pour concrete. And as far as like plywood forming, you can only do 4 foot an hour. Most of even the heavier clamp systems and so forth, the newer systems that have come to the marketplace since the origination of Steel-Ply, they're only talking 8, 9, maybe 10 foot an hour. So this system here being developed back in the 50s could actually do 6 foot 8 inches of concrete pressure as a pour rate of 6 foot 8 inches per hour. So it's a basic system, steel frame with plywood insert face. Typically going to be either a 7 layer birch or an HDO plywood. Typically it's available for rent or purchase. And to be honest with you, most dealers have this product in stock. Most dealers, if they're in a concrete form rental, Steel-Ply is the basic form of what they have. This is kind of like the uh, key pin or the kingpin of what they have in their rental fleet. In today's marketplace, this is still Simon's number one rental product in the marketplace. Panels come basically 24 inches wide. We have what we call fillers, which look like panels, but they're just shorter and thinner, I should say. And they come 4 inches to 22 inch even increments. So that's 4, 6, 8, 10, etc. But there is one oddball, which I don't know why, but there is a 5 inch wide filler. We also have steel fillers, which are 1 inch, inch and a half, and 2 inch available. And these are solid steel channels. Basically have dado slots at every 2 inches, and they have tie holes that run through the center of the front face, which is critical when you're looking at using a filler, steel filler. This way you don't have a filler sitting next to a panel and have to put a tie on both sides, because typically every joint requires a tie. So what you can do here is you can put a steel filler, one tie in the center of the steel filler with a long bolt, and you are good to go. There is an third adjustable column form that is 30 inches wide. It is out there and it is available. It is an expensive proposition if you go to use it quite often, because what happens is you drill holes in the front face of the plywood. After so many holes, the holes repair charges cost you more than the plywood itself. So, uh, but the standard heights of all these products are available in the 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10 foot. The 9 and 10 foot are obviously in the last 15, 18 years, the newest additions to the system, primarily because house foundations wanted a basement that had 10 or 8 foot high clear ceilings so that they could make that into a living area. Also within the steel-ply panel, the steel-ply panel is fairly simplistic in design. You've got a bottom rail, end rail, top rail, side rails, cross members, which are basically spaced at every 12 inches. There is a handle so they can help you carry it. There are corner braces to reinforce the corners, because that has a tendency to be a pressure point within the system itself. But it also helps maintain the rigidity of the panel. And you have obviously the 1/2 inch plywood face. Cross members are basically spaced at every 12 inches on center. They run from across the panel from side rail to side rail. So therefore, the loading on this panel basically goes from plywood face to the cross members. The cross members then transfer the load to the side rails. The side rails transfer the load capacity to the ties. So that's how this system actually works. When you're looking at the ends of the panels, you can actually, so if you get a skid of them coming in, you can actually see that the dado slots are 6 inches on center, and up to I think it's 8 inches. There are no dado slots in the end of the panel, so therefore the 4, 6, 8 panels have no dados in the end of the panels. When you're looking at a 10 inch, as you can see here, you come in 6 inches from the ends, the 2 inches of overlap. So that's 12 inches minus 2 inches gives you the 10 inch panel. And this system right here is quite simple once you start to recognize the layout of the panels. Very easy to figure it out. You know that the panels are actually on a skid without even having to take a tape measure out to measure it. The side rails, basically an integral part of the system. The strongest point on the side rail is at the point of intersection with the cross members. So, where do you want your ties to be located? Obviously, at the strongest point within the side rails. So that is going to be only at the cross members of where the cross member intersects with the side rail. Uh, so we don't have front notches on our 6 inch increment hole. So that's for 6 inch, 18 inch, uh, 30 inch, etc. There's no slots on the front side. Those slots are primarily designed for accessories. Keep the ties in at the 1 foot increments. I've got people that actually put ties at every foot on the panel when they go in. Uh, and it's a little bit overkill, but if the customer says, "Hey, I sleep well at night. I don't have to worry about a blowout or anything like that." So it's all doable. You can actually put your slots, basically your ties in the slot in an engineered fashion to accommodate whatever load you're looking at. Now, for ease of assembly, now you look at this system here. This system here basically has two panels, especially if you only want to have an 8 foot high 8 foot high form. You're basically going to set your two panels in place. You're going to put your ties in place, and you're going to put a one-piece whaler across the 6 inches down from the top of the panel. Now that whaler at the top of the panel is there for one purpose only. It's for alignment only. It has nothing to do with structural integrity of the form. It basically is going to help align the top of the form so it's nice and straight. Now, that one piece whaler goes up there, I said 6 inches down from the top, because at Symons, we're fortunate enough to have a fairly large inventory of forms. Uh, but as a dealer, it would never fail that we would rent what we didn't have in stock. So we'd have to make up systems. So would have an 8 foot high panel that we would have, but we wouldn't have 8 foot high forms available. So you'd have to end up making the system up or making the form up with a couple of different panels. And one of the great things about Simons is this system is this, there's always more than one way to solve a problem using Steel-Ply. So with Steel-Ply being used here, we actually have we could use for an 8 foot high panel, we could use a 4 and a 4. We could do a 6 and a 3, and they could reach down a foot, etc. So there's always more than one way to solve a problem here. So here, excuse me, uh, here we have two 4 foot forms stacked up on top of each other. So we've come down 6 inches from the top. We came down 6 inches because we have a top of a form. We have to align that area also. So we come down 6 inches from the top of that form. Because when you place 2 points and you have a strong back on the backside, because right now we're looking at that strong back that's in position there, is for vertical alignment. It's once again non-structural. It is there for vertical alignment only. What it can happen though is it can pivot on that center or on that second or that lower strong back. So what we would do is we would place a third point in it to make a 3 point positive connection. So therefore you can't get any rocking out of the forms. It's basically going to be firm all the way up through. And we would come up 18 inches. And the reason we come up 18 inches is so that when you strip it, if you drop the panel off that without taking all the whalers and everything off of it, you can basically lay that system down fairly quick and easy without damaging the form. Scaffolding, if you need to have a work platform put in place here, 8 foot high forms. I don't know many guys that can reach up over the top of an 8 foot high forms to finish concrete. So there's usually you have to put a scaffolding in place. Uh, you know, you can go in everything up to 6 foot does not require tie off with the system. But if it does, we have a safety eye feature that can be put in place here. So most guys here, when they have, let's say, an 8 foot high form, they're going to put their scaffolding somewhere around 4 to 5 feet. This way, they don't require a tie off. If they do have a taller panel that they have to go into, they can attach a safety eye. Typically, you're going to put the safety eyes in at every 8 foot, somewhere along that form, above the scaffold bracket for the guys to tie in with their lanyard. That meets OSHA requirements and makes sure everybody is safe on the job site.
So I have a question for you about strong backs.
Yep.
Do you need a strong back if you basically flip flop from height? So like you're stacking two different sizes. Do you need a strong back in that situation?
If you checkerboard your forms, going back in here, if you checkerboard the forms and you have a minimum of 2 foot overlap in sizes, so therefore, an eight, let's say you're going to do an 8 and a 4, a 6 and a 3. You don't have to use a strong back. I would recommend putting one piece whalers on there for alignment purposes, for basically horizontal alignment. The vertical alignment will take care of itself with the side rails of those frames.
Thank you, Chuck.
Some of the other key components that will be needed to assemble the system here is you have wedge bolts. Uh, Wedge bolts are the most common attachment methodology here. Two components, identical. One comes horizontally, the other one drops vertically through it. You do not have to tighten these up with hitting it with a hammer. Let gravity do its thing. Let gravity, when you think about it, you don't want to tighten these things up and then pour 1,000 pounds of concrete pressure against the wedge bolt, have that concrete harden up, and then try to release this material. The wedge bolt will become a projectile for you, so you don't want that. So you want to try to keep it uh, as as useful as you can. The one-piece whaler clamp typically would go in place here. You've got a attaches to the top of the form. This actually replaced our whaler ties and our Z tie holders as being the older systems in the marketplace, which we still support, but it's not a preferred method. Our preferred method is to do the one-piece whaler clamp. Goes in, two 2x4s come in place, tighten it down, you're good to go. Turnbuckles basically adjust the camber of the form. It is not a brace. It is basically for alignment or plumbing of the system. We also have long bolts. Typically, if you have a steel filler, you're going to use the long bolts. The only place long bolts are used. The long bolt is actually adaptable to all three sizes, the 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch. All use the same long bolt. We also have filler angles. Filler angles typically go in place here where you have to make up a panel. Never fails that this is always when you get a job at the farthest point from your territory or from your shipping facility, and a guy calls you and says, I have a panel that I'm short. Oh, okay. Filler angles now can be used to fill in that void. It's also a great component piece actually where you're going to have pipe penetrations through the formwork. What actually you can do is use a standard piece of 3/4 inch plywood, cut a hole for that pipe to run through. use a filler angle to connect that to the regular panels. And this way you don't pay for damaging the panel or that HDO plywood. Your standard 3/4 inch plywood costs you about 40, 45 bucks a sheet, 60 bucks, so 45 to $60 a sheet versus $130 for HDO plywood. We also have ties. Ties, the two most common ties within the system are the flat ties, which are typically a residential tie. It only comes with a 1/4 inch break back, and it is flat. We have the S panel tie, which is the commercial tie that we see is probably the most common tie that we have. And that comes with a standard 1 inch break back. We have them available in standard duty and heavy duty. We also have a multitude of other ties and so forth, as the S base tie, the toggle ties, the adjustable tie, and obviously the dreaded bent tie.
You love that tie.
I love the bent tie is a great tie, but the problem is you typically, if you have to use it,
Then you're having some fun.
you have to be having some fun. You have to order it ahead of time for a possibility of using 5 or 10 ties total on the job site. And it could take you 7 to 10 days to get. It's just, so if I can, usually what I try to do is avoid that. I can engineer it out of the system being used. Now, the ties are relatively simple on how they break back. The flat ties typically is bend it down, bend it up. It goes in that one direction. You can see the little V notches there. That is the weak link. That will be the area that the tie will snap at. On the S panel ties, you can actually come in and just spin it around like this with your claw hammer. You can stick a screwdriver in that hole, and it'll twisting of the tie will actually snap it. You just pop it out of the hole, leaving a small 1/4 inch hole to be patched with either caulk or grout. Now, where do we find all the great data and everything else you need for this system? Well, go to DaytonSuperior.com. On there, you'll find forming, drop down, hit forming, go to Steel-Ply. It'll come down to all the brochures, the application guides, the safety ID chart, safety charts, ID charts, and all the TDSs that are available on the Symons Steel-Ply system. There is also,
So I'm sending the link out to everybody in chat that
okay,
goes to the landing page that has all this fun stuff that Chuck is talking about.
so if you do require additional training here, uh, there's a link right here to actually a QR code that you can actually scan to actually will take you to our training site. You can request training for any of these classes or any of the products here that you see on Training Tuesday by just clicking on here, mentioning the product, what you're looking for. We do everything from lunch and learns, custom classes, AIA, engineered in person and virtual. Uh, you can also review any of the trainings that we are currently doing here, especially on our Training Tuesday. Go to DaytonSuperior.com, search Training Tuesday. Will come up and you can basically highlight any of the classes that we've done. And I think we're up to about 165 now, thereabouts, somewhere in that range. So if you don't find it there, give us a call. We can actually help you out with any of your needs for any of the training classes. And with that, I'm going to ask one more time. If you have any questions, ask them now.
We had some good ones earlier. So yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. We do record these as Chuck just mentioned, and we put them out there on YouTube channel. Tried to organize them on the DaytonSuperior.com so that you can get to what you need by product type. He told you how to get there, but once again, you just search on Training Tuesday and you'll find 2 links. One's to sign up for the next Tuesday's training, and then the second one will take you to the latest and greatest, and then whatever subject you want based on what you pick. I don't see any questions, Chuck. I think we're good. So, yeah. All right. Well,
Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great Tuesday.
yes, always a super duper Tuesday, right?
Oh,
See
have a
you,
superior Tuesday.
see you next Tuesday, hopefully. Bye now.